Welcome to our proven learning session on understanding CRM relationships. In this session, we will be covering creating relationships in the CRM and the impact they will have in proven jobs when they are utilized on the Job Relationships tab or as the customer on the job. Before we begin the session, let's review a few housekeeping items. All attendees have been muted for the duration of the session to cut down on background noise. Your videos have also been turned off during the session to avoid any visual distractions. The recording of this session will also be available via our PSA Help Library in addition to our YouTube company channel. Lastly, any questions you may have regarding the content of today's session can be directed to our PSA support team. Support can be reached at support@canempsys.com. On the agenda today, we will look at the importance of understanding relationships between CRM and proven jobs, why it is important to ensure that our data entry in the CRM is accurate, as it will impact how these records are added to jobs. We will review organizations and the fields within an organization record. We will review contacts and the associated fields within a contact record. We will also look at the utilization of the different fields within organizations and contacts for filtering within the different modules in the CRM. We will also review the required fields when creating organizations and contacts. And finally, we will take a look at how these relationships impact job relationships in proven jobs. Let's get started with defining what are relationships. Relationships within proven jobs and proven CRM are defined by what type of relationship it is. For example, is it a customer, a vendor, an insurance office, or property manager? How we set up relationships in the CRM will impact how those relationships are added to jobs in proven jobs. Here are some examples of 5 common types of relationships. There's customer, vendor, property manager, plumber, or insurance office and adjusters. When creating organizations within the CRM database, much like in proven jobs, the types you select will determine how that record is used on a job in proven jobs. Each organization must have at least one primary type. So what do primary types mean? Customer defines any organization that sits on the accounts receivable side of your accounting system, meaning this can be associated to an invoice. A vendor defines any organization that sits on the accounts payable side of your accounting system. These would be associated to bills or expenses. Now, our organizations can be typed with both customer and vendor, which means this defines any organization that sits on both the AP and AR side of your accounting. Organizations can only be dual type if assigned at creation. You cannot give an existing customer or vendor the other type once they are set up. Now that we've defined what the primary types are, let's look at the secondary types that can be selected on an organization record along with the customer or vendor type. These secondary types will be important if the record is to be added to the Job Relationships tab based on the role they have within the job. Here are some examples of secondary types for organizations that are set up with the primary type of customer. We have insurance office, adjuster office, property manager, plumber, etc. For organizations that are set up with the type vendor, they will have different secondary types. And again, it will depend on what role they will have within the Job Relationships tab. Some examples of vendor secondary types are subcontractor, plumber, electrician, supplier, etc. Let's look at an example of a job with these secondary types added within the Relationships tab. In this example, you can see that the Relationships tab in Proven Jobs has several secondary types assigned to this job. There is Property Management Office, Insurance Office, and Plumber. Our job in the CRM will reflect those same relationships, as those relationships will sync from Proven Jobs into the CRM job. When organizations are created in Proven CRM, these records will sync to Proven Jobs companies under the Relationships menu option. Please note that there is a 5-minute sync cycle from the CRM to Proven Jobs. When creating companies in Proven Jobs, the sync is immediate to the CRM. Any contacts created in either Proven CRM or Proven Jobs will sync between the two platforms under the Contacts tab within the organization or company record. Now, let's take a look at some of the fields that are required when creating an organization in the CRM. We will look at the additional fields that marketing reps will want to use for filtering purposes within the organization module, or when creating routes or marketing campaigns. We're going to jump into the live system. Here we are in the live system. Creating a new organization can be done two ways within the Proven CRM database. Up at the top, we have a plus sign, and when selected, we will be presented with a list of options available for us to create. Selecting Organization will open up a form for us to enter our data. At a minimum, to save a record, users must enter the organization name, select the type, and as explained, either customer or vendor or both. They must also enter in address information, address 1, our city, our province or state, and our zip or postal code. But before we go ahead and create a new organization record, it is best practice recommendation to search for existing, if possible, existing organizations. In the search field drop-down, we can search for organizations. We can also search for lead organizations, contacts within those organizations, and also search for jobs. To do a search, it is simply enter in some of the keystrokes. It requires 3 keystrokes at a minimum. The built-in fuzzy logic will look at all records that have data contained. Simply either hit the Enter button on your keyboard or select our search. The system will look at all records with those characters regardless of where they are in the record. They could be at the beginning, They could be at the end or in the middle. When entering a new organization or a contact for that matter, the system will check for possible duplications, giving the user the opportunity to determine if a new record needs to be created or not. The system will warn the user of potential duplications. It will check for duplicate names, emails, and phone numbers. The user can also select the Details option in the warning message, which will take the user to that existing record to review further to determine if it is a duplication or not. If it is not, the user can select the Close warning message to proceed with their creation. The second way to enter a new organization is to navigate to the Organizations module and then select the Plus New Record, which will open our form for completion. Another check the Proven CRM system will do is an address Google check. The CRM database is connected with Google, so when entering an address on a new record, whether an organization or contact, it will check what has been entered in address 1, city or state, or province, and zip or postal code. It will offer an address suggestion if required. Please read the suggested addresses carefully. You have the option to select yes to use the suggested address or no, which will close the message. So now let's look at some of the fields users can enter when creating a new record. As explained earlier, selecting the correct company types will impact on how this relationship is used on the job in Proven Jobs and how it will sync to the connected accounting platform. Remember, users must select either the primary type of customer or vendor as a minimum in order to save the record, as well as the organization name, and enter the address. Once you have selected the primary type of customer or vendor, users now have the option to add the secondary types, which again will impact how the record can be added to the job in Proven Jobs Relationships tab. Within the organization record, there are additional fields that are only available to select in Proven CRM and will not sync to the Proven Jobs company record, as these fields are not available in Proven Jobs. Lead source defines where we came across this record. Industry type defines the industry in which this organization exists. Here are some examples of lead sources. We have trade show, networking event, direct marketing, word of mouth as examples. And here are some examples of industry types. We have insurance agents, property managers, plumbers, emergency services, military, etc. The lead source and industry type fields, when selected on your organization records, can also be added to your organization's lookup screen. Navigating over to the Tools option, select Column Show. In here, you'll be presented with a list of available fields for the lookup screen, but we're going to select Manage View to give us a better look. In here, we can see we have lead source, So I'm going to select lead source and industry type. I can also move these to a new location to better suit me as far as my filtering is concerned. Once I've made my selections, I would hit submit, and I can now see that my lead source is on my lookup screen and my industry type is now on my lookup screen where I can do some filtering. Our industry type is also available for filtering when creating a route within the CRM. We have our column industry type, which will allow us to enter in the applicable industry type we want to filter by to narrow down our search for possible organizations to add to our route. Industry types can also be found when creating a marketing campaign under our source option. The user has the ability to select from the available drop-down to narrow down the search for contacts to which they want to send a marketing campaign out to. Don't forget to tag yourself as the salesperson on the records you are creating. Depending on the role permissions you may have within the CRM, you may need an administrator to tag you if you forget once the record is created. And as always, please don't forget to hit save or update. There are some screens in the CRM that will prompt you to save, but it is always a best practice to select the save options where presented, as there isn't an auto-save feature within the CRM database. In addition to lead source and industry type, there are several other fields within an organization that are not present in a Proven Jobs company record. Get Alert means that if you select yes, you want to receive alert notifications such as inactivity, or if a new job comes in for the organization, and the salesperson who is assigned to the organization would receive an email when that happens. If no is selected, the assigned salesperson will not receive any alerts for the organization. The organization group is used to link together parent companies such as property management companies to their site locations. Up in the top right-hand corner, we can see that our organization has related organizations. The user has the ability to select the organization and will be redirected to that organization. And as you can see, in this organization, we have Eastdale Property Management associated via the organization group. To tie an organization to an organization group, on the organization group line, click the Select button. Here, the user will be presented with all available organizations. In the organization name field, start typing, and select the company they want to tie that organization to. Once selected, choose Update. Back in the organization group organization, we can now see under Related Organizations the organization we just linked together. The Not Marketable option means that when you select No, you will be marketing to this organization. Yes means you will not market to this organization. An example of this would be a homeowner or an organization that we no longer wish to market to. The root label option allows the user to tag the organization with a root label that has been set up by an administrator in the company definitions. This will allow the user to filter in a root by this label to see all the organizations that have been tagged with this root label to narrow down their search. Now, what if I need to capture additional information on my organization? Company administrators have the ability to set up additional information to be captured on an organization record within the definitions in the database. Some options for input include a selection from a drop-down, an input, which is a free-form input field, select possibly yes or no, or entering in a date. Also within an organization, users will be able to view financial information associated to the record based on that financial information being entered in proven jobs, where that organization has been added to the Job Relationships tab. Users will be able to see associated revenue and referred revenue. They will also be able to see associated estimated revenue and referral estimated revenue. The difference between associated revenue and referral revenue is simply associated revenue means that our record has been added to the Job Relationships tab as a type other than referral. For example, you could add them as the insurance office, property manager, plumber, etc. The referral revenue is simply when that organization record has been added to the Job Relationships tab as the type referrer. So now we're going to take a quick peek at some of the tabs within an organization. Starting at the top, we have our activities. Within here, we will see any notes, any tasks, possible events, opportunities, and we also have a summary which will include any activities potentially added at the contact level within the organization, as those activities will roll up to the organization level. We also have our accounting tab, which will allow our salesperson to enter in any accounting such as expenses. So any kind of marketing activities where we want to record how much we've spent while we're marketing to this organization. And that expense activity will be visible here in our gray banner. We also have our jobs option, which will show all jobs relating back to this organization when they are added to the Relationships tab on our job in Proven Jobs. We will see any contacts associated to this organization record. We have the ability to upload documents such as a service level agreement to our organization. And lastly, we have our audit, which will show any changes that have been done to this organization record. It will tell us when it was updated, what were the changed fields, what's the new value, and who did the change. Back in the organization lookup screen, users have the ability to filter across all of the column fields. They will be able to narrow down searches based on keystrokes entered in to any one of our fields. Once we've entered, it will narrow down our search. We also have, as shown earlier, our tools option, giving the opportunity when in column show to be able to change our lookup screen to what we want it to be viewed. We also have our export option should you wish to export out this grid view to PDF, Excel, or Word. And if we have done any filtering and we want to save our filtered, we can create what we call a grid view. And once we've created it, we can come back to our grid view as often as needed. We can delete a grid view, and we can also schedule this out as a report. The last area that I do want to look at is the mass edit option in the top, where users have the ability to update records as needed. Selecting mass edit, the user can then choose the type of update that they want to do on their record. I'm going to select industry type. I'm going to choose next step. I'm going to go into the drop-down field and choose my industry type, next step, and then I can start filtering for my records that I want to update with my industry type. And I can go ahead and start selecting. And once I have made my selections, I can click on the blue, select organizations. It will prompt me with a message, do I want to? I'm going to say yes. And once the system has completed the update, those organizations will have the industry types associated to them. Now let's talk about creating a contact and the steps needed to be taken in order to create a new contact within the CRM database. Adding new contacts to organizations can be done several ways. Going back up here to our plus sign as previously shown, I can click this and select our contact. And as previously reminded you, we might want to search first before we go ahead and create a new contact. Please note that the organization must exist prior to creating a contact. The next way to create a new contact is in the Contacts module, navigating to the Plus New Record, where it will present the form for the user to enter information. And the last place where a person can enter in a new contact is within an organization itself, selecting the Contacts tab and then selecting the Plus New Record. Within a contact record, users have the ability to select a title from a list available in their database. They also have the ability to tag a route label to their contact record. They have the ability to add as many as required. They also have business development types, and we also have our not marketable yes or no and our get alert yes or no. A business development type is a field in your records that you may want to tag your contacts with for you to be able to do future filtering. That filtering can be done in the contact lookup screen. It can be done when creating routes and as well inside of our marketing campaigns. The tags are a way to group contacts together to narrow down those searches so we're not having to filter through many contacts. Also within our contact, similar to our organizations, we have the additional info area, which again would be set up by our company administrator in definitions. Information such as birth date, has kids, yes or no, how many kids, so an input field. These are great rapport building fields to be added to your database for marketing to our contacts. Also within our contacts, we do have some options available to move contacts to a new organization, or we can merge contacts together, meaning we have a duplicated contact. By selecting the merge option, the contact that we are going to keep is considered our destination contact, and you'll see the information that has been set up on that contact already. By clicking on the blue Select Source button, this is going to present to us a list of all of available contacts where we can do some filtering to find our potential duplicates. So I have a second Andrea Wilson. I'm going to click the blue Select button, and the system is going to show me the information that is on my duplicate, which is also considered our source. Now I have an opportunity before I click the blue Submit button to review to see if any of the information on my source contact I want applied to my destination contact. Simply selecting the radio button on the information that we want populated on our destination contact, and then selecting the Submit button. We will be prompted with a message that the system will inactivate our contact, and we will now be taken to the remaining destination contact. The Move option within a contact allows the user to actually move this contact to the new organization, so we don't have to create a new contact within that new organization. Please note that the organization that the contact has moved to must exist in the CRM. So we're going to select the Move option. Now across the top, you'll notice that there are some checkboxes available for us to choose what we want to take with us, with the contact to go to the new organization. Things like copying addresses, emails, phones, events, notes, calls, or custom fields can be taken to the contact that's going to be created in the new organization. However, I would say that things like the address, emails, and phone numbers will probably not want to go with the new contact in the new organization, simply because they would have new information when they're within that new organization. Other information such as our events, notes, and possible custom fields we'll want to take with us. And basically all you do is type in the name of the new organization that we're going to move them to, filter for it, and then hit select, and the system will redirect us to the new contact within the new organization. The other contact will be marked as inactive. Any financial information such as estimated or actual revenue based on jobs they are associated to from proven jobs will go to the new organization. However, it will not be part of that organization's overall estimated or actual revenue. It is merely just for our purposes to be able to see a historical record of our contact. Within the contacts lookup screen, we do have filter capabilities across the top of all of our columns. We also have our tools option, our column show, which will allow us to add or change or rearrange the lookup screen. We have also our export option, and as well we have our filter, where we can save our changes so we do not have to perform an exercise of updating our grid view every single time. We also have inside of this contacts module the mass edit option, and in here I have the ability to make changes by tagging by a specific type. I'm going to choose business development types. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to enter golfing. I'm going to choose next steps. I can filter by contact names. by organizations, by types, etc. And by simply selecting my contacts and hit select contacts, saying yes to the question, it will update my contacts with those business development type that I chosen. Now that we've covered creating organizations and contacts, let's review their importance regarding job relationships in proven jobs. Applying relationships on jobs will sync to the job in the CRM. What type those relationships are added will directly affect the salesperson getting credit for their jobs. This will be important for the salesperson assigned to those relationships, and those relationships being added to the jobs as the type referrer. Adding as the type referrer will sync to the job in the CRM and give credit for the job for that salesperson in the CRM. In this example, our salesperson was added to the job based on the referring contact and/or company being added to the job. Please note that for the CRM job to show the salesperson assigned, that salesperson must own the referring contact or organization prior to the job being created. Once a referring contact or organization has been added to the job as the type referrer, the salesperson will be added to the job as the sales type. Now, to have this happen automatically, in company settings, there is a setting that your company administrators can select autofill salesperson from referral company or contact. When selected and a company or contact have been added to the job as the type referrer, the salesperson will fill in automatically. Back in the CRM, we can see that our salesperson has been assigned as the salesperson based on the referring company and contact. This concludes our webinar on understanding CRM relationships. Should you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact our support at canamsys.com.